Hey, it's Steph. Thanks for watching today's video. I'm going to be doing my Get Ready With Me Q&A. I had asked you guys for some questions on my life lately with my newborn, and I will be talking about the birth experience and just how life has been. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. And if you're not subscribed to my channel already, I hope you do before you leave. If you did not know, I have a 9-week-old. I think he's going to be 10 weeks. Oh, today. Today, Thursday. He's 10 weeks old, which I know everyone says this, but it's just crazy how fast it has gone by. Oh my gosh. I literally just fed him and put him down. So hopefully he stays asleep for this whole video. This is my second attempt. The first attempt, I just kept getting interrupted. He kept waking up, and it just wasn't working out. Mom life, so that is okay. I'm just trying to take this opportunity to get this Get Ready With Me filmed. So I had asked for, excuse me, it's literally the morning. My voice is still croaky. So I asked for questions on Instagram and on my community tab. I did get a couple. Let me start off with Tina's question. Tina Misdemeanor on Instagram. She asked, is your stepson enjoying being a big brother? So while I answer that, I will start on my base. I have been using my Too Faced Born This Way concealer as foundation. I'm trying to use it up, and I'm so close. So, short answer is no. He is not enjoying being a brother. If you guys didn't know, I have a 14-year-old stepson, and he's only with us on the weekends, so I think that is one of the main factors why it's taking, I wouldn't say long, because you really don't know what to expect with these types of things, but it's a little more challenging because he's not here during the week, and so he's not around new baby all the time, and he kind of has to readjust every time he comes home to our house. 14 years of being an only child, and now there's this baby that makes random noises and cries all the time. Not all the time, but when he's hungry, if he's overly tired, if, all the typical baby things, when you don't really know what to expect. And then all these things happen, it's hard to adjust. Also, my stepson is on the spectrum, and so he has some sensory sensitivities. So crying and, it's just a lot to get used to. And so we actually moved his PS5 into his room, and he has a little area to escape when he gets a little too overwhelmed or needs a long time, which I think is really good for him. He's 14, he needs a little more independence, but also that escape when he needs it. So, I didn't know what to expect, and he doesn't want to hold him. He doesn't want anything to do with him, which is really sad. But he was really excited when baby smiled at him for the first time. He took that as a win, which melted my heart. So he thought that was really special, which is a positive thing. So it's going good. It's just taken some getting used to, which is expected. Thank you for your question, Tina. Next questions are from Kami. from Kami Inc. on YouTube. She asks quite a few questions, and I always love that about her. Her first question was the nursery fully ready when your son arrived? And did you finally go with the whale theme, or did you change your mind? So, my nursery was ready when I'm using my Rare Beauty concealer. My nursery was ready when I came home with baby, but only because of my family. So I guess I'll get into it now. I was gonna share like the story, but I'll get into it now because it kind of ties in with the question. So I'd say 2 weeks before he was born, I was in and out of the hospital, and I spent a few times like overnight. I was having really sketchy blood work. My liver enzymes were extremely elevated, and that is a symptom of like a pregnancy thing. It's like cholestasis of pregnancy, which I don't really know exactly what that means, but I didn't have any of the other symptoms. So the doctors were really stumped, and that's really the only reason why I kept going to the hospital, is because my blood work kept coming back really bad and they didn't know why or what was causing it. So they just wanted to monitor baby. I feel like I was on like 50 different non-stress tests, which is when you go in and they like put a heart rate monitor on your belly to make sure a baby is stable. But I took my first ambulance ride because my local hospital where I was planning on giving birth is level 1, and I had never heard that before, but that just means they don't have like all of the specialists, or like they don't have as much high level of care, and they also did not have a NICU. So if my baby was born early, he would have been transferred to a different hospital if he had needed like extra care. So I was transferred to a different hospital like during that stay because they were like, they didn't know what the heck was going on. And apparently like an hour away, there's a hospital that has specialists for what they thought was happening, the cholestasis of pregnancy. So I spent 3 days up north at this hospital getting blood drawn every 4 hours. I had the monitor on my belly like the whole time, 24/7, which laying in a hospital bed and you have to stay in the same position, you can't really like switch sides or whatever. It gets pretty uncomfortable when you're 9 months pregnant. So yeah, they finally sent me home because they were like, you're a medical mystery. As long as baby's fine, which he was. He was totally fine that whole time. They're like, there's no point in you laying here when you could just go home and then go into your like local clinic and get tested every few days. So they sent me home, and 2 days later I had like another blood draw just to see how I was doing and another monitor, and they ended up keeping me overnight then too. And this was at my local hospital. They just wanted to monitor baby even more, which is great. Of course, better safe than sorry. I was just thinking, like, if you're gonna keep me overnight here, why didn't they just keep me overnight again, like at the other hospital? But that's besides the point. So yeah, that doctor, again, she didn't know what was happening. It's like a different doctor on call that time. Oh boy, I just went way overboard. It'll all balance out when I do my eye makeup. Okay. long story short, I was in and out of the hospital a lot. And I was feeling fine, but I just kept getting the testing, and baby was fine. So they ended up not even really diagnosing me with anything because they couldn't. Like I said, I didn't have any other symptoms. They were like, oh, it could be the cholestasis of pregnancy, but it also could be preeclampsia, which is really just like super high blood pressure and then other symptoms. But I didn't have high blood pressure. Like, that's the main symptom. So, yeah, I don't know what. I don't know. So that was like over a span of 2 weeks. So that was like mid-August. Then on Monday, no, it was on a Monday. I went in for like more testing, and my doctor was like, okay, you are going to be 37 weeks this coming Thursday, and we want to induce you, but we want you to seriously consider having a C-section. And I won't get into all the reasons why they suggested a C-section, but he was measuring large, even for 37 weeks, which is 3 weeks early, if you didn't know. And like the liver enzyme thing, it's just a lot simpler, less monitoring like for my liver and for him, like if something happened. Like, another thing was my bile acids were high, which I don't know. Don't look it up either. Who knows? I'm just saying what I remember, and honestly, it's kind of like a blur at this time. um, so my husband and I talked it over. We slept on it. We did all the things, and we decided that we would have a scheduled C-section. So on August 31st, I had a C-section at around noon, and my baby was born, a baby boy. And it's so crazy, like when you're just laying there, and of course you're numb, like you can't feel anything, but I could kind of feel them like moving my body around, like tugging him out, which is so weird. And I could hear them talking, which when they saw him and when they were pulling him out, they were like, oh, this is a big boy. They were like, good job, mama, for having a C-section, because he wouldn't have come out the other way. Yeah, so he was 9 pounds 7 ounces when he was born, which I know a lot of babies are born bigger than that, but he was 3 weeks early. So if he had gone full term, then he would have been giant. He's also really long, like he's in the 99 percentile. So I just have a big baby, which he's still so cute. But when he was born, let me start my eyebrows. He did not breathe well on his own. It was super, super like I wasn't there. So, well, I was there, but I couldn't hear him when he was doing it. But that's how my husband described it to me. And so they immediately like took him over to the table to clean him off, and they put a CPAP machine over his like his mouth and nose to help him breathe. And my husband was over there with him the whole time, so that was really good. But I was like fully expecting what I see, online, where they bring your baby over to you, they put him on your chest so you can get immediate skin to skin, so you can bond with your baby. Like, I've seen like if the baby's crying and they put him on the mom's chest, like they stop crying. It's just like a really special moment and really soothes the baby through. They just went through this like traumatic transition from the womb to like the real world, but that did not happen. And I was just laying there wondering like what's going on. My husband kept going back and forth between me and baby, and they weren't really telling me anything. Or maybe they did and I just don't remember because I was like on drugs, you know, anesthesia. But next thing I know, I am being wheeled out of the room, of the surgery room. My baby is staying there, and I can't see my baby. And that, if you're a mom, you know, like, well, you don't know if you've never gone through that part, but like, I just birth, I didn't birth my baby, but like, my baby's out of my womb. I need to see him, and I can't. I was very upset, if you can imagine. So a couple hours of me laying, you know, in my hospital room. My family was there. They were going to see baby in like the nursery area, and they were coming in, like giving me updates, and I could hear him crying from down the hall, and it's like I knew that was my baby, and like my sister was like, "That's him," you know. It was like really special for me to like even know that was him. Motherly instincts, you know. And a couple hours go by, and they finally tell me that they are transferring him to a different hospital. And the whole reason they waited for me to be 37 weeks was the chance of him being transferred to a different hospital was going to be really low. So hearing that was kind of devastating because I had to stay at my local hospital to heal from my C-section, and my baby was going to be like an hour away. Thankfully, my husband was like, "I'm gonna go with," and I was like, "Yes, you are." So he could be with him through the whole thing, but they didn't let him go in the ambulance, but that's okay. I'm gonna put a picture on the screen. Trigger warning, if this will upset anybody, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna put a picture of like they wheeled my son in the room in like the protective box, you know, where you have the holes where you can put your hands in, and he's like hooked up to all these wires. So I'm gonna put it up now. This was the first time that I saw my son. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to get ready. And yeah, like 4 texts came in. They were going to be in the ambulance with him. They kind of explained to me what was going on. And I said, and so they took him. Okay. So while I'm in the hospital, my sister is staying with me, which is really great. She stayed the night so I could have any help that I needed. And they basically told me, like, as soon as I can get up and walk on my own and go to the bathroom on my own, I can leave. Because they knew that I wanted to get to my son. Typically for a C-section, they said they like to have patients there for like 48 hours. But I left within 24 hours because I wanted to go. Let me pause and show you. I'm using my Sigma Ivy palette. You guys voted on this palette in my Instagram stories. That was quite a while ago. Like I said, I've already attempted filming this video. So I've actually shared 2 looks that I've already created with this palette. So I'm gonna probably do a more simple look today. I will be doing, I think I'm gonna do like a green wing. I'm gonna try that. But yeah, we will see. So, my sister drove me up north to see my baby, and he was off of his CPAP, which was amazing. Of course, my husband had been texting me and calling me with updates like the whole time, that he was up there and I was still in the hospital, like sending me photos. My poor baby, he was like all swollen from, the C-section, and apparently, like, if you have a C-section, the baby's not being like pushed through the birth canal, and so a lot of fluid is stuck in them. He had fluid in his lungs and like a lot of air in his stomach. So that was hard. Like, they were trying to get that out. He had a feeding tube, he had the CPAP machine, but he was off of it. He had an IV just to make sure he was getting his nutrients and fluids that he needed. I think he was, yeah. So yeah, I tried spending the night that first night in the hospital right after surgery. I slept in a recliner. Well, I say slept, but I didn't sleep at all. I just like was staring at him the whole night in his little bed. So yeah, that was really hard. And the nurses were like, "You're not staying here again. You need to go home and rest. You just had surgery. Your body needs to heal." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right." So that whole week, he was in the NICU for 11 days. So that first week, I went home back and forth. I drove myself. I know that's probably not good, but I slept at home and I spent the days in the NICU with my husband and my baby. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. He, like I said, he was off of his CPAP within 24 hours, but he was having a really hard time feeding. I can hear him crying. Hopefully he goes back to sleep. He was having a hard time feeding, which is the main reason why they kept him in the NICU for so long. He needed to prove that he could eat the right volumes and gain weight, because at one point he was losing weight. So he was just having a hard time figuring it out, which is typical. He was early, he wasn't developed all the way, and yeah, he was just getting used to life outside the womb. It was really hard being in that environment, though. Like, I can talk more about that in a different video if you guys want, but it was really hard. Yeah, he's crying. We'll see if he falls back asleep, but I might have to pause. He usually sleeps like 2 hours, and it's only been half an hour. Yeah. I'm gonna go try to see if he'll go back to sleep. Okay, I'm back. If you hear music in the background, I have my son's toy on, because he did not fall back asleep. But I'm almost done. So to answer Kami's question, my nursery was done when we came home, but only because my family, they ended up coming to my house, organizing everything. Like, when I was in and out of the hospital, like, all of my baby shower gifts were still in their bags, like, all over my house. Like, nothing was organized. And my sister is like a master organizer. She actually did it for a job. Like, and so her and my mom and my dad and my other sister, they all helped and got the nursery ready. And my husband, actually, he painted the wall that we have, like an accent wall with like underwater. I'll put some pictures up here. We did end up going with the whale theme, but it's more like nautical. He does have some whale things like on his shelf, and I almost did a whale on his wall, but I ended up just doing little fishies because it was fast. I didn't have a lot of time. But yeah, he has a ton of like whale thing, like blankets and little stuffies, and we actually got this little octopus from the gift shop at the hospital where we were at with the in the NICU as like a souvenir. So yeah, we went more with like a nautical underwater, not specifically like a whale theme. Oh my gosh, my phone is in the other room where my questions are. I'll be right back. Okay, another question from Kami is, how does maternity leave work for your company? My work offers unpaid leave, so they're basically required to like keep my position for 12 weeks while I'm on maternity leave. Because I had a C-section, I got 6 extra weeks, so I actually got 18 weeks total of paid leave, and my husband got 12, which is amazing, like honestly. So that has been going great. My husband just went back to work. He went back to work early before his 12 weeks because his 12 weeks were going to end like mid-December, and he wanted to take some of that leave like around Christmas time. So he kind of like shifted things around, which I'm really glad that he's even able to do that. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. My job does not pay me during leave, but the state does. Does your son have your eyes? He does, Kami, he does. He actually has brighter blue eyes than I do. So I guess I feel like the shape of his eyes are similar to mine. They're like an almond shape. But he has bright blue eyes, which I feel like he got from my dad because my dad has really blue eyes. My husband has blue eyes. I have blue eyes. We were expecting him to have blue eyes. But yeah, and his eyelashes. I feel like all babies have amazing eyelashes. I'm so jealous. His are like so long and fluttery. Oh, ooh. He just made a noise. And then the last question. Oh no, second to last question from Kami. I love how many questions she asks. Are you tempted to buy all of the cute baby clothes? And absolutely I am. I actually bought most of his clothes from garage sales and like thrift stores before he was born. But now that he's here and I see how adorable he is, I just want to buy all the clothes, like especially for Christmas coming up. I want to get like suspenders and a bow tie or like a little vest. I've been buying him a really cute like sweaters for when it gets cold out. Oh my gosh, baby clothes are the best. But I have found that it's true. I've heard this before, but girl clothes, they have a lot more options for girls, I feel like. All the boy clothes are kind of basic, which I'm very neutral. Like, I put him in a lot of neutral things and a lot of like blue because of his eyes. Oh my gosh, he looks amazing in blue and like grays. I think he's a summer just like me, you know. I think it's too soon to tell for babies, but yes. So yeah, it's super tempting to buy all the clothes, but I'm on a budget. My husband just told me I need to stop spending so much money. Anyway, Kami's last question was, does your son take good naps? And we're working on it. He takes really good naps when I'm holding him. I think that's just a newborn thing. I think they just, you know, they want to be with their mama, which is like, absolutely, I want to be with you too. We're biologically connected in that way. So we're working on it. Like, I just had to get him up from his nap because he didn't take it. We've had 2 successful naps in his bassinet. He sleeps in his bassinet next to our bed at night, so I just put him there for his naps too. But yeah, usually he has to be sleeping in my arms to take a real good nap. We're working on it. Thank you, Kami. I love all your questions. And thank you for everyone for like commenting and being so patient with me while I've been navigating like my new life. It's really hard to find time to film. So yeah, hopefully after this video, I'll be able to film my Throwback 30 update because I haven't been able to do that in forever. But let's finish up this eye look. Do I want to add a shimmer or just keep it all matte? Honestly, I haven't done an all matte look in a long time. I also haven't used any of the golds in this palette. I actually might top this shade like all over my lid and see what that looks like. So I'm trying to remember like what else I wanted to talk about. The first night home with him, like after the NICU, was really difficult. I think he just kind of got used to the NICU, obviously, and I did too. It was great having like nurses there 24/7, and like he was on a great schedule. Every 3 hours they would come in and give him like care, which they would, you know, help you change him and feed him and like do all of his monitors and testing or whatever they needed to do. So he's still on that schedule. I feel like as he gets bigger, he's eating more frequently. So yeah, he's eating a lot. He's so he's 10 weeks. He had an appointment a couple weeks ago for his like two-month checkup, and he was 15.5 pounds. He's a big boy, which I love him. So I really like that gold on the lid. I think that was a good idea. I think I'll just use my highlighter in my inner corner because I feel like this palette doesn't have a good inner corner for my skin tone. So I'm just going to use my highlighter. This is, I feel like my whole look today is very warm toned, which you know how I feel about that, but I think it looks fine. I think it looks okay. Let's do mascara. When my husband was home with us, it was a lot easier. We would take turns feeding him because we were bottle feeding. This boy did not latch, so we are bottle feeding, which made it a lot easier to take turns and take the load off of me. But now that my husband is off or is back at work, it's just me and baby, which honestly, like, I'm made for that. I'm made for this. Like, I love being a mom. It's hard. It gets overwhelming when, you know, he's a little baby. He just, if he needs something, he cries. He doesn't know how to communicate. So if I don't know what he wants, it gets a little overwhelming, to say the least. I get overstimulated when there's too many noises. Like, I consider myself a HSP, highly sensitive person, all around. And so if there's like the TV going and then him crying and like all of these things, I'll often turn the TV off because I'm like, I can't handle all these noises, and then I'll be fine. But feel like this mascara is already drying out and I've only had it open for like 2 months. It's the green essence. This toy that he has on sings, and I get these songs stuck in my head like all night, all day long. Like literally when I'm awake at night, I'm singing these songs. I think it's funny. My husband's like, I can't wait till we can watch like all the kids shows. I'm gonna contour my nose really quick. Oh, that's helpful. Not. I'm just gonna run what I had left on my bronzer brush. I don't know if that helped at all, but I feel like I wanted to talk about so much, but now I'm like blanking. Okay, I think that's it for my look. If I left anything out that you are curious about, just let me know in the comments, and I'll let you know. I'll either talk about it in another video or just reply to you. So if you enjoyed this Get Ready With Me and hearing me talk about like my journey with my new baby boy, give this video a thumbs up. And if you like panning and makeup content and you're not subscribed already, I hope you subscribe before you leave. So I see you in my next video. Bye.